Hey guys, so I wanted to get you a quick resource in regards to setting up height maps with your texture deformer, making things paintable, selecting some paint strokes to paint onto your deformed objects, and then convert them for Arnold. So I don't have a lot of time to record this video, so I'm going to move fairly quickly here. Real quick, I don't have the outliner open. So I just want to click that to make sure my outliner is open, and then I'm in modeling. I'm not going to go over all the shortcuts. The W move, the W for move, the E for rotation, R for scale, all that. Just know as I'm doing these shortcuts out here, you can just manually select these over here if you don't want to use shortcuts. So let's jump right in. I'm going to go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and I'm going to go to Plane. I am going to scale this up considerably. Maybe something like that. I don't want to see my grid, so I'm going to turn that off. Over here, I just want to make sure that I'm in my attribute editor, so you just want to click that little tab over here that says attribute editor to the side, and I want to just make sure I'm in my polyplane 1, and we're just going to set that up to 250 by 250. You can set different values there, but that'll give us some resolution to work with. From here, we just want to make sure that that we are finding height maps, so we can generate them in Maya or other packages like World Machine or Houdini, or even a designer can do different height maps too. So all of those are great packages for producing procedural workflows for terrains and designer, even more type of things. But anyways, just know that you can use this tools and go to size, and you can do larger than and start making sure that you get something with decent resolution. So that's where you would just start going through and just finding a black and white image that has decent resolution. So that's 1K. You just want to make sure that you're avoiding things that are like this one, like the 500 by 500. That's not very much. So I think I selected this one, so I've already downloaded it, but feel free, find some height maps that you think look good, and download that black and white image. I've already downloaded that, so I'm just going to navigate to that. But first thing I want to do is just go to I got off modeling. I just want to make sure I'm in modeling. Going to go to Deform, Texture. Over here it should pop up. Go to normal. Here I'm going to click the little checker box, and we could generate our own with these gray images of checker, bulge, cloth. We could make water effects through ocean, which we talked about, Mandelbrot. All these things we can generate some stuff, but since I've downloaded one, I want to just go to File, and I should bring up this menu, and I just want to click the little folder, and I'm just going to navigate to where I have that saved, which is right there. I'm going to open that up, and then with my texture deformer, I'm just going to come click back over here, and I just want the strength to be maybe something like that. I am going to want to put my camera into frame, and in fact, let's create a render camera. So we're just going to go up here to Create, Cameras, and Camera. And I'm just going to middle mouse drag that right above the plane, so there should be, you want it to be a straight line. You don't want to parent it to something where it would have a box, so just a straight line, and that puts it up there. I'm going to double click that and go to Render Cam, and there's other ways to get to this. We can do our space bar and all that, but just for now I'm going to go to Panels, Perspective, Render Cam, and I'm going to set up a frame. Problem is I don't really know what the camera is seeing. So with the camera selected, I'm just going to go scroll down. You should start up here. I'm going to scroll down to Display Options, open that up, click Display Resolution, and overscan that a little bit. Anything in this gray area, the camera does not see. Anything inside this box, that's what's going to be rendered. So I like that. I'm just going to with camera selected, I'm just going to hit S, go to frame 120, just push a little bit, click S, and now I have a basic push. I'm going to go back to my first frame. Now to paint on this, we just want to go to make sure that this plane is selected. We want to go to generate and go down to, if we can find it, make paintable. Now we can paint on it. And then we want to go to generate and go to get brush. And then we can scroll down to, there's the grasses. That grass when narrow is good for grass. Trees and tree mesh are good for trees. So let's do this oak heavy. I'm just going to select that and shrink this. Now I have a paintbrush I can paint trees on. And so maybe we could start to paint some tree effects into our scene. And now as we have our camera animation, we're just going to kind of push through that. Maybe paint another one right there. The nice thing is these things have different seed values, so you can get different looks from tree to tree. So as I go through, I have a basic animation, and again I can paint grass and stuff on here. The thing is, you really just want to make sure that you're painting to your camera animation, because I don't want to paint and have a ton of polygons and things like that in the scene that's not even going to be in frame. So we could paint some grass here in the foreground. I would avoid trying to paint a bunch back here for now. That can start to get heavy. There's some workflows for proxies and things like that. But for what we're doing right now, I don't want to get into all that. Kind of more of an advanced topic. But just to get some basic paint effects. So I'm not going to do a bunch of grass, but I'm going to go up here and I could go to generate, get brush. And if I wanted to do grasses, I could come down here to this grass when narrow. And I could start to paint some grass in here as well. So I might want to paint the foreground up a bit. There's other ways to do this, but I'm not going to get into all that right now. Main thing is over here in the outliner, you're going to see these effects. And first one, we want to start converting this so that Arnold can render these. Because right now, let's set up some basic Arnold lighting. So I'm going to click Arnold, down to lights, over to the physical sky. I'm going to click in that black background, so I can get my sky dome light over here. And if I just scroll down, actually I think I need to, no, I was right, click on that again. But yeah, there we go, sorry about that. So just by clicking here, we'll get into this AI sky dome light shape one. We just want to scroll down until we see this visibility tab, and we just want to set that camera to 0 just so we don't see the sky. It'll light. If we want to see it, that's fine. You'll just leave that at 1. But if you don't want to see that, that's fine too. You can turn that to 0. So the difference being, I'll just do a quick render. You can see the sky, and then there's that ugly black bottom that we don't usually like. But I would encourage you to just put it to 0. And then you can comp in your own sky, and we can talk more about that in class. So here, and I will actually have an alpha now too. So up here, this is my color. That's my alpha channel, so you can see I've got a good alpha, and I can just go back to my color channel. But you'll notice that we don't see any of the trees or the grass in that render. So we have to convert these things. So I'm just going to go one by one. I'm going to select this stroke. Actually, let's do one that you guys can see, because there's an error that sometimes happens, and I want to make sure you know how to fix it. So we're just going to come with this stroke right here. Maybe we'll even do this one. We're going to go to Modify up here. Go to Convert. If we go down here to Paint Effects to Polygons, we can convert that. But you'll notice it looks weird. See how we didn't get all of our twigs and our leaves? I'm just going to Control Z. And I'm going to go back to Modify. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Down to Convert. Paint Effects to Polygons, but this time click the little square next to it. There's a poly limit that's set, so when it hits a certain polygon limit, it'll stop producing polygons. Well, we didn't want to stop because there was more tree to convert. So we're just going to add an extra 0 in there, and I'm just going to hit convert. And now you'll see we've actually got a good conversion here. So if you remember, our command is to repeat the last command that we did is G. So I'm just going to do G and just kind of go down the list and click G and G. And so we're getting the polygons down here. So you just want to go down the list and do that. Since I'm kind of short on time, I'm not going to convert everything. I just wanted you guys to know how to do that. You just want to go down the list to make sure that you're getting conversions. So from this point, maybe I'll convert a couple other things here. Okay, so I think that's enough. We're not really going to get into setting up shaders or anything like that. But I just wanted you to know how to convert things and how to paint on things, convert them for Arnold, set up some basic Arnold lighting, and then do a render. So we will check that out, and so that should pop up here in just 1 second. Alright, so here we have our conversion. Now there are some things that we could do to make this better. We can put start really developing shaders for our leaves, getting some ground textures on that, and actually that wouldn't be a bad idea. For the sake of the class though, we're not going to really work textures for leaves and getting alphas and proper reflections and transparency and that sort of stuff into our leaves, or subsurface scattering, we could say that too. So we're not going to do that for this class, but I did want you to know how to set up Paint FX, how to be able to paint on things, and how to convert them so that Arnold could render them. And now we could actually set this to render. Again, just to set a basic render. EXR is great. We just want to make sure we set this to name.pound.extension. We're doing 120 frames, so I'd want to set that to 120 for this. Scrolling down, I would just want to set this to HD 720 or 1080. Keeping going, and that's pretty good. So I know I ran through that real quick, but I know we've talked about that before, and I also know you can kind of rewind and look at that. To render this scene, because this is our animation, we would just want to make sure that we change this to rendering. Then on render sequence, we click the box next to it, and then in here we just want to make sure that we change that to render camera. And here we can actually set where we want the images to render out to, and it'll start saving our frames out. And then right here, this will tell you where that path has been saved to. So you just watch that, and you'll also know where to grab your renders when they're done. So anyway, hope that helps, and we can talk more about this in class, but that's a basic quick refresher and resource in regards to what we've discussed in class.